Hi guys. Oh, look at those white things floating around. I wonder if they're nanos. I don't know. I'm teasing. I did fix the bed, so I have it propped up with the suitcases now. I did have it propped up with the suitcases before, but I took them away just to see because this person on the other side has been doing things. When I lean against the wall, I get the same sort of heating, because sometimes, I'll read in bed, so I lean against the wall and the same sort of thing, the noises, the wiring. I think sometimes that's a diversion. I don't know. With the wiring, you hear wires being pulled through, the refrigerator will shut off. It's just weird stuff. And then the wall starts burning. So I did prop it back up with the suitcases. So obviously, and also once I heard the banging and the yelling, my bed actually moves across the floor, believe it or not. I have been, I start up here most of the time, and I've been almost to the door at times. I've woken up, so most of the time, and last night I did sleep a little bit better. I feel a lot better today. Not great, but I feel a little bit better. So the bed was fine during the night, and then all of a sudden, with the yelling this morning and then the banging, the bed moved across the floor and collapsed, which is weird. What I'd like to impress upon you is there's military involved with this. I grew up, my mother's boyfriends, most of them were in the military, ex-military. Some of these people do have unchecked mental health issues. I know her boyfriends did. So you have people that are highly skilled coming back into the community and not getting the services they need. So this went on quite often. So these are the kind of individuals we're dealing with. So when you have skill sets like that, things can seem supernatural. When I was a little girl, because of her boyfriend talking about the war, he was a Purple Heart hero, and guns. Guns wasn't something that I was interested in all. In fact, I was phobic about them until recently. I hadn't really examined. I just never was a person that was into guns because I was exposed to this kind of violence very young. He would often talk about the war. He had unchecked mental health issues. He had physical problems with his back, with his knees. He was alcoholic. Her first boyfriend after when she left my father. So there's been an ongoing military presence in my life. Her second boyfriend, Fred, was involved with the military. So there was awful odd things that went on. I will talk today about with my ex-husband on the aunt's house that we took care of her and we were going to take over the house. But you do have to wait 5 years. So by the time I got up there from taking care of her, we were supposed to get her, her house was given to us. The promises were made all the time. But this is the thing with economic abuse. So I get up there. And the violence and this kind of harassment had begun. On my prior home, they were taking out wiring in the walls. I think I mentioned in the last video, my ex-husband would insist he didn't snore, but you'd hear this stuff all night long after, oftentimes I'd be asleep. There'd be doors shutting. This is sort of a similar pattern with what's going on here. This gentleman supposedly told me, and I told my ex-husband he had worked for the FBI, or he was working for the FBI. He seemed to be a cross-dresser, I found out at a later time. So I don't know what kind of relationship he had with my ex-husband, but it seems like it was inappropriate because this is the kind of stuff that was going on. The wiring in the walls, the weird noises, the constant loud snoring. Someone mentioned that on my page. I did wear earplugs for years to offset that, and it became an ongoing contention to be my husband because he wouldn't have himself checked, his ex-husband. So there's these, this kind of pattern of abuse. When I went up on Crane Street, he talked about this Special K, his friend. He made these allegations all the time. So I believed I was being drugged there. They would do things like, it's sort of like The Game, if you're familiar with this Michael Douglas, who is from my area, his father. The Game, that clown where he's trying to figure out what's going on. Well, I was being drugged. I would come downstairs, sleepy, and the TV would flash these clown things. And you think it's crazy. You think, well, who left on the TV or what's going on with the TV? And the TV can be a way to, harass you or do things to you. Certainly in this case it was. because I felt drugged. I could tell something was wrong. I just went out in the hallway and there was just strong fumes pouring in, whether it's the vent here or the bathroom, which is often the case. You wake up, you go try to use the bathroom, and you're just inundated with these horrible smells. You start to get a headache. You start to want to throw up. And this was the same thing at the YWCA. So again, when you're dealing with this kind of level of training from people, this kind of surveillance, this kinds of training that, your house isn't haunted, you're not crazy, it's not supernatural. It's my contention, it's filthy people doing filthy things. A lot of this stuff can be accounted for. They'll talk about Satanism, they'll talk about witchcraft, they'll talk about 5G or, conspiracy theories. I've read some of them myself when I first got on the computer looking for answers. But it's my contention with dealing with this stuff for so long from my own family. These war themes and the military and the fog surrounding this stuff. It's a lot of gaslighting. Be safe out there, guys.